This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. With 6, you get Wally, by Lamanda. Chapter 1. A few weeks before my grandfather passed away, I visited him in the hospital. I was just a kid and didn't know any better at the time, so when he called me at home before the family left for the hospital and asked me if I could smuggle in a pack of Camel cigarettes, some sipping whiskey, and the Marilyn Monroe Playboy issue from 1952, I did as he asked. The last year of his life, my grandfather came to live with us in the family home and occupied the spare bedroom on the first floor. I spent a great deal of time with him alone in his room, so I got to know his haunts and secrets pretty well. One afternoon after school, early in his sickness, he spoke to me of many things. Life, he said, is nothing but one long circle. Everything that's been said will be said again. Everything that's been done will be done again. Every mistake repeated. Every lesson learned will be learned again. What happens today will have happened yesterday and will happen again tomorrow. Always remember that. I told him I would, even though I had no idea what he was talking about. That day I visited him in the hospital was the last time I saw him alive. I had a 4-ounce bottle of sipping whiskey hidden in my left pocket, the pack of cigarettes in the right, and his prized Marilyn Monroe Playboy issue down the back of my pants. 15 minutes prior to the end of visiting hours, my grandfather told the family he wanted some alone time with me, and they obliged him and left us alone. The second they filed into the hall and closed the door, my grandfather jumped out of bed and closed the white curtain to give us privacy. "You bring what I asked for?" he asked excitedly. I produced cigarettes, whiskey, and Marilyn. "Good boy," he said, and rubbed my hair. He got back into bed and hid his smuggled goods under the covers. "Remember what I told you," he said. "Life ain't nothing but one big circle of events that goes round and round." 2 weeks later, he was dead. He waited until he knew the time was at hand before he broke out his smuggled goods. Nurses on duty at the desk rushed to his room when his monitors went blank, and they found him smiling in his bed, lit cigarette in one hand, 4-ounce whiskey bottle in the other, and Marilyn Monroe on his chest. My grandfather knew how to live, and he knew how to die. My grandfather's words ran through my mind as I sat in the bank and talked to the loan officer about mortgage rates and loans. Life ain't nothing but one big circle. 20-plus years ago, as I signed my life away when my wife, Carol, and I purchased a home, there was a knot in my chest and a lump in my throat. The loan officer explained I didn't earn enough money to buy the home we actually wanted without a bigger down payment. I worked a second job, as did Carol, and we borrowed the rest from family, and then we purchased the home where she was murdered in front of our 5-year-old daughter. All these years later, a loan officer at the bank told me that my 40% early retirement pension wasn't enough to purchase the home I wanted to buy to give Regan a decent place to live in. Not without a steady second income. As I was in forced retirement as a private investigator at the moment, I needed to upgrade my income or settle for less house. We discussed emptying my savings account, and that familiar lump in my throat and knot in my chest took my mind to my grandfather. "Perhaps a less expensive home would allow you to make the payments without dipping too far into your savings," the loan officer suggested. "It would, but this home serves a very important purpose to me," I said. "If I put $100,000 down, what does that do to the monthly payments on a 20-year mortgage?" The loan officer did some calculating on his computer. I did some of my own. If I removed $100,000 from my savings, I would be left with $75,000, more than enough emergency money. "It's doable," the loan officer said, "but there isn't much left over every month in your pension check." "That would be my problem," I said. "Your concern is that I make the payments every month, and if the bank can arrange to have the funds automatically transferred from my direct deposit account to the mortgage payment account, then you don't have any concern at all. Yes?" The loan officer looked at me. "I can arrange that," he finally said. "Good. When will you put the bid on the house?" "As soon as I leave the bank with all the paperwork signed." The loan officer nodded. "I'll get the papers," he said. Karen Hill, Associate Vice President of the 5-Star Real Estate Agency,
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.